to speaking back to them or responding to them rather than the white men.
What do you mean you notice them more? Like, you don't notice the white guy standing right there, but you notice the black guy?
No, if it's like an average-looking white guy, you know, making a pass or paying attention to me, I see through them. I don't.
What'd you say?
Would you date black girls?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because they're disgusting.
Really?
Yeah.
Why they sleep with everybody in?
Yeah, you guys are pretty gross.
But y'all beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. I know.
God bless y'all with pretty hair.
I know.
Pretty eyes.
I know. Thank you.
Intelligence.
I know.
Look at
So I received this comment on one of my videos. One of these crusty G weeb chimps. Crusty logic. Just illogical statements, and they repeat the same thing over and over again. And I'm not sure if the comment was deleted by them, but I never got to read the entire comment except this. This comment I was able to see from an email. And I'm going to respond to it now just to use it as an example, because I'm going to be doing a series on this now. Because of idiots like this. You see, it's so easy to debunk this stuff. Now you see why I do these videos of these bottom shelf brads and who they really choose serious. Because you got these crusties that are only people on the planet who think that the pigmentation of someone's skin gives them resources and power. While other races of women are rejecting these men, getting men of your race and their own race who actually have the resources and powers you claim black men don't have, and claim that dating a bottom shelf brad or a white man will give you those when the average white man doesn't have that. Is exactly why is a proven fact, another proven fact, why you cannot compete with other races of women. You never will be, you never have been. You were brought here to be Aunt Jemimas, tap dancing weed chimps, serving a white man food while shining a white woman heels like you good for. And that's all you'll ever be in this country. Everyone's surpassing you in this country. Immigrants are replacing you in this country. And black men are replacing, black men like me at least, are replacing this country. All right, so I guess I'm just going to show how stupid these creatures are. First and foremost, like I said, I find it funny how other races of women don't think like this. Since we're talking about white is not a hot commodity in the white community, that would apply to white men especially. Because no white woman is choosing the average white guy just because he's a white guy. They usually do that unless they had been with him since high school or something like that. They usually want men with all the check boxes. So when I said physique, that's just one check box. Obviously, I live in a neighborhood where you have to be financially stable to live here. So that wouldn't even be a question in a white woman or the non-BW's mind. Since we're talking about white is not hot commodity, like it would these crusties mind. All right. So getting upset about the Dre Baldwin video is a prime example of why these creatures have this inferiority complex to white women or other races of women, because they see a black man that can provide, protect, and build in that video, and it just increases their inferiority complex. This is everything they say black man can't do, and try to make sure the white man image is above that, because they know the only way they can make it seem like they're getting these bottom shelf brads that are worth anything is if they control their image, because stats and facts show the opposite. The fact that every week one of these creatures are slaughtered by these bottom shelf brads show the opposite. So I'd rather not keep repeating myself saying this. And before I get in this video, I want to just respond to this real quick. You creatures don't even get top race of your own community. How the hell can you get top men of other communities? What resources are you talking about? You turn princes into peasants. Even a half BW did that. Black mother, white father, not the other way around. That's the reputation you creatures have in society. That's the image you have in society. So I can understand that's why you spend all your time talking about black men with other races of women, because stats aren't in your favor right now. Facts aren't in your favor right now. 340,000 black men married to white women aren't in your favor right now, because it's showing that we're not leaving them as single moms, because it's not possible if you're married. You were brought here to be a concubine for the bottom shelf brad. That's all you apes will ever be. So you shouldn't even feel entitled to black men who have something going for them. All right, you have the status of a peasant, not a queen. You have the status of a peasant, and kings date queens. Doesn't matter what race they are. That's usually how it goes. It's always how it's been, and that's still how it is today. You aren't a queen. You never will be a queen. Your value is too low to be a queen. Breonna Taylor's statue got vandalized for a reason. They called Micaiah Miller Shaboon. The white man that you worship called him Shaboon when she got taken out. That's the image you have in society. So when you see these idiots out here talking about bottom shelf Brad and black men this, black men that, I'm gonna give me a white man, he has resources and power. This is how dumb they sound. The average white man in America. Let's look at the stats. According to the U.S. Bureau of Statistics, the average white man in this country makes $1,104 a week, which is approximately, I'd say, about $57,000 a year. I make a lot more than that annually. Not a little bit more, but a lot more than that annually. And I'm under the age of 30. So based on those facts, not opinions, not feelings, but those facts, and not your hurt feelings, it's your dad, aka Cynthia G, the father that you never met, your father figure, and logical talking points, we can conclude, or we can come to the conclusion that I do not have a problem competing economically with anyone, better yet, white men. At this point, I'm not even at the point where I was competing with them to begin with, because I already surpassed them a long time ago. I'm competing with Asians and Indians now, as far as economically, as far as income, because they're at the top. UBWs are at the bottom, very last. So I don't need to compete with no bottom shelf Brad for anything, because I already surpassed them. And that's just facts. If we're talking about economics. All right. However, every demographic of woman surpass you in everything, unless it's something negative. They surpass you in income, they surpass you in looks. According to men of all races, especially non-black men, they have you last at every single dating app. They surpass you in being in shape, you have the highest obesity. They surpass you in having the lower STD rate, HIV rate. They surpass you in success. They dominate you in sports, except when a black man raised Serena Williams and the other woman, Simone Biles. Without the black man, they wouldn't be in the position they are in today. So basically, they dominate you in sports, while we, on the other hand, dominate white men in sports, which is why we make a good couple with these non-BWs, especially white women, so they dominate you and we dominate their men in sports. That's a common scenario. We can create super athletes with that. We can't do that with you. So we're talking about competition. You're the one who can't compete with other races of women. Everyone realizes it. Like the white man in the video I said before, dating you is a step down, not a step up. All right. And then the second thing, I got a full scholarship to college on an athletic scholarship, which puts me in the top 100% people who receive that. 99% people do not receive a full scholarship to college, athletic scholarship or academic scholarship. So that already puts me above the average white man economically, considering that a lot of them have that pay that they have to pay $150,000 or $200,000 or $50,000 if their parents help them out a little bit, that I don't have to pay. So I'm already surpassed them economically. If we're gonna play that game, talking about I can't compete economically, you know. So that's an extra $148,000 to invest in my properties, in stocks, in kids, which will contribute to resources in building. You see, you won't see my kids complaining about not having opportunity because they're already gonna have it. You know, putting them ahead non-BWs. Meanwhile, your kids, you're on CNN begging for handouts and money and cash apps to support your biracial children. On TikTok saying white man left you as a single mom. And your son's gonna have the same result that you do with black men because you have the same result with everyone else. We're just going about facts in this video. So based on all this, I doubt I have a problem competing with anyone economically, just based on these facts. My friends and my homies are in the NBA. Some of them, 2 of them are. And they don't have a problem. They're not dating BWs either. I wonder why. One of my friends got a 1-year scholarship to the NFL, only got paid $300,000, but he's still sitting on that money. And he invested that money. He doesn't date BWs either. My other friend makes decent $60,000 a year, average, as a personal trainer, married to a white woman. But he's in his child's life. Got a full scholarship to college, or a half scholarship to college as well. D2, got an education. My other friend is a professional trainer making over $80,000 a year in LA. He moved to LA, professional trainer, starting to train celebrities, making 6 figures, got him a beautiful woman, non-BW, that white man will go crazy over, in real good shape, buff, physique, 10 out of 10. He's not dating BW either. No one in my circle has a problem competing economically. That's why it's so easy to get out here and slaughter you low IQ apes, because you will never be equal to the woman I reproduce with. And I don't have a problem competing, and no one does. But without further ado, let's get to this video. I try to get that off because it's comments like this why I do videos like this. Provider and protector. No one you get is a provider and protector, because in order for that to be possible, we have to be able to be the one that shows it from the other race of women. That will never in a million years happen, because you're at the bottom of the barrel in everything. You're disgusting, you're useless, and you're degenerates to society. Let's get into the video. So I seen a video on King Sigma channel the other day, and it was basically regards to how BWs plan to wipe out black men. And I find that funny because they were saying like black men money go back to white women, and I said before that doesn't go back to it doesn't go back to white men, it goes to white women and the beneficiary of their children. It will take 2 generations to wipe out a black man's seed completely, and that will require him to reproduce with a white person. And even if that is the case, that's a lot better than aborting a black boy and not leaving a legacy behind, because that can reshape the whole culture. You see, when you know, we live in a day in technology. When you know you came from a black man, that can change the way you operate and the way you think. You see, you got these weave shrimps who are descendants of slave rape, and they worship masa. That's what they call them. And then they want you to come take them back when they have nothing to offer to begin with. All right. And so I found that video entertaining. And I don't think there is a community, a black community, if we can't come to an agreement, or we don't have the same principles, we don't have the same tenets. There is no black community when you want to just twerk on top of tables, spread STIs, STDs, and then like I said before, it's not black men collectively giving it to these weave chimps. It's you creatures spreading it around. You know, it's no black community with that. Because not everyone wants a bunch of degenerates in society. I don't, and many other self-respecting people don't. We don't have any common principles that bind us together. People like me don't have that with you weave chimps. If anything, we have opposing principles, and you've seen that in the election as well. Therefore, that would make sense that the shines who support these crusties and the crusties themselves are opposition to our beliefs. It's much more complicated to get along with someone when you don't share the same principles, values, and tenets. Because these crusties don't have any principles. They're modern day slaves. When you go to other cultures and other communities, let's say this, you got Jews, you got Muslims. You ask Jews about something, they're gonna be on par. You ask Muslims about something, they're gonna be on par. Just had Taliban take over, Afghanistan? Taking over the Middle East. They're on par. There is nothing that these weave chimps have in common with me, for the most part. And that's why when these crusties say, yo mom black, yo mom, you hate your, no, my mom is nothing like you crusties. My mom was not a single mom. My mom had no problem finding a black man that provide. My mom had no problem finding a black man that protect. My mom had no problem finding a black man that build. And that black man got me in the position I'm in today, where I'm above 90% of people in my age group in income. And my mother did too. So when you weave chimps come out here and project your inferiority complex and your background onto all black men, it's here to expose the truth about how behind you are with other races of women. And there's a lot of black men that mention they come from families where their mother was this and that. And now they have to suffer the burden of a mistake that was made that they can't control. And I'm gonna do videos on that, exposing these crusties who sexually assault their children, but didn't wanna play victim when something happens to them. Or they wanna cherry pick certain content about black men doing the same thing, but they don't wanna call out these weave chimps. You see, there is no community with that. So, at least black men like me, I can't speak for these shines who are crusty identified, black female identified, but I can speak for actual black men who are like me. And we're divided. We don't have nothing in common but skin color. The election and the voting show that we're divided by politics. we're divided by goals as well. BWs want black men to stay at the bottom because it benefits them. It benefits them in the dating market because of black men were equal in income on average, because we all know a lot of black men are, and that's why these crusties are always complaining about black men giving resources to other races of women and try to make up things and brainwash these low IQ simps that they're giving it to white men, which is not possible because your money goes to the beneficiary, which is your children. But anyways, we're divided by goals because black men who want to succeed, these BWs don't want you to succeed. They have a crabs in the bucket mentality. It does not benefit these crusties when a black man succeeds. So I'm going to the top and I'm too busy looking up. I don't see these crusties and these creatures. They're just in my way. They're not even roadblocks because they're too insignificant to be roadblocks. They're just debris on the floor. Useless debris on the floor. That's what they are. But we're divided by that as well when it comes to goals. They don't want black men to win. They want to have all the benefits that they continue to get, and they're being replaced now, and that's why they're going crazy and getting mad. White men are already losing their power, so I'm not sure what these crusties are talking about. And we're divided by athletic ability as well. When we compete with other races of men, our potential in sports, BWs get dominated by every single race of women, but they have this sense of entitlement to where they feel that they should date athletes like me, people who got scholarships and a full scholarship, got a free education, other black men, and they feel like they're entitled to us. No, you're not. These crusties are delusional. So when it comes to athletic ability, they're losing to other races of women. So when you talk about black men competing and BWs competing, BWs can't compete with anyone. It's not black men unless it shines that with you, and that's why you project all day on 24/7 online. It's you who can't compete with other races of women. And the two BWs that did ever dominate sports, let's be honest, they were both raised by black men. They both had their fathers in their life. The black men taught them how to play a sport that was, I guess you could say, female dominated for some part. Tennis, a little bit. I don't know many people who watch men tennis. I know men play tennis, but seems like women get most of the money from tennis. It's more watched when women do it. I could be wrong. I haven't done my research on this. I'm just assuming it based on how much money was given in those games that Serena Williams played. And it's Serena Baboon Williams' father got her baboon ass in the sport. Simone Biles didn't even have the heart to continue the Olympics, couldn't even compete with other races of women. But to get her that far was her father. You see, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan would have did it by themselves. She didn't have the heart to do it. So we're divided by that as well. All right? Our ambition is not the same. Talking about black men who are cut from the same cloth as me, not you shines. So black men like me are definitely separate when it comes to these things, when it comes to worth ethic. Every group in America is passing these BWs. Immigrants are coming and replacing you because you don't do nothing but take people tax money. You're sitting out here crying and blaming black men for everything. You're just going to get stepped over. That's what's going to happen to you, crusties. And I don't feel sorry for you because this is a competitive market for women and men. These crusties can't compete. It's not my fault Jim Crow ended a while ago and you're still stuck in a ghetto living off my tax money and blaming everyone else for your fat asses getting pregnant by 20 different men in less than 10 years. Now I may be over exaggerating that, but you get my point. But instead of actually improving yourself, you rather come online and blame an entire demographic for your failures. And this is why everyone is passing you in this country. You're at the bottom. You're at the bottom of income. You're at the bottom of everything. Instead of utilizing that affirmative action, get your lazy ass to the gym and lose some weight because you have the highest obesity. You're online talking about black men. Instead of using that 24 hours in a day that you have, just like I have, that may be helpful for you getting out of poverty, getting off welfare, doing something productive. You use it to talk about black men. So these crusties' failures and their inability to measure up to the other gender or their same gender of other races of women just shows that you're the defeated weave chimps, not me. And it's not my fault. But I know when you see me in public with my non-BW, you see how I'm living. That inferiority complex has you damn near about to have a stroke. And I think that's funny. We're separate when it comes to that inferiority complex too. When it comes to colorism, all you creatures do is cry about colorism. So when I first came out here and said I don't have nothing in common with these crusties but skin color, now you know what I meant. I had to articulate myself for the low IQ shines, who emotions and hurt feelings block their ability to think logically. I had to lay out the differences between me and these crusties, just some of them. If I did it all day, it would take forever. So that's just some. Okay? I mean, aborting black boys, weave chimps depending on the government, assistance for everything, having multiple babies by multiple men, believing that their pigmentation or someone else's pigmentation will solve all their issues. Is why nobody respects these crusties. People come here and they look at them like they're a laughing stock. They're a joke. They're a joke. See, people have principles in different ways. A lot of people come by their own principles in many different ways. Sometimes we gain them through our own experiences and reflections. This is what I realized, and this is my experience with these bottom of the barrel creatures. This is what I realized on the internet, which was a reflection of reality and what I noticed in real life. That's why I believe that when I see a lot of these shines and these simps who's been under BWs their entire life, been around nothing but BWs, which will probably make them more likely to identify with them, depending on BWs for everything, worshiping BWs, thinking the way they do because that's their God, that's their leader. They don't know how to conduct anything on their own, so they subscribe to Krusty G and listen to Bitter Hurt BWs. Many of them come from backgrounds where they're fatherless and they were raised around multiple women. That's usually the case. I've had proof of that on my profile. I have gotten videos of them saying that themselves. I got homosexual men saying that themselves, that they follow people like that. They said it themselves. Don't be mad at the messenger. So it's easier for them to accept the degenerate behavior from these crusties because it comes as second nature to them. So they adapt to this inaccurate, outdated mindset of thinking where they still believe they're slaves in 2021. Grown-ass men talking about they're still oppressed. Grown-ass men talking about we gotta go back to the ghetto and invest in that. You dumb fucks. Where the property value is high, that's where you're gonna make your money at. That's where you're gonna put investments at and make double the profit at. That's how you carry generational wealth. You don't carry generational wealth by taking care of other people's kids that you don't know, that don't have the same experience as you. You don't build generational wealth by living in a government housing owned by the government, opposed to investing in a house in the suburbs where the school district is better, which will increase the value as that home as the years go on because they're in a better school district. You got a backyard, not like in the ghettos that you clog, and you got a backyard you can invest in a pool table or a pool, and the home value goes up. That's how you invest and carry generational wealth. Not having this fixed mindset where you're still in Jim Crow by choice. You dumb fucks. But of course, they don't know better. Because this is what the BW's been telling them to keep them behind other races their entire life, because that's where they want them at. In turn, they wonder why these bottom shelf brass will invite them to their platforms to bash black men, or they invite these bottom shelf brass to bash black men. Call these dudes boys. They don't call me a boy. No one called me a boy to my face. And if they do, then they might get hurt verbally to the point where they might get physical, and they might get physical, and then they might get physical, and they might end up in the hospital with a concussion. But that's usually the case. That might what happened. So this is why nobody respects you shines. I feel as if these shines don't think for themselves. Think for yourself and quit being female identified. That's why nobody takes you clowns seriously. And this think that I have a community with you, we don't have the same principles, we don't have the same tenets, we don't have nothing in common, we have different beliefs, we have different experiences. You're a failure, I live around different people, I live around different races of people, my experience is probably more accurate than your closed mind thinking experience. And that's why you haven't gotten nowhere. If you want to claim about oppression and stuff like that, then you allowing people to oppress you. Because at this point in time, that's something my grandfather can complain about. My grandfather can complain about that. My grandfather went to the military. And he put himself in a position in a day where he can complain about oppression. You a grown ass man sitting under these weed chimps talking about oppression. You talking about community. You can't build no community with you fucking idiots. We don't got the same principles intended. We gotta be on par. And now you're gonna replace these BWs. That's how we gonna build a community. And my kids aren't gonna be self-loading because I'm not fucking no ape. There is no community. We don't need you. Understand that.
As a white man in the West, do I think a white man should ever procreate, marry, or be with a black woman? The answer is no. Why? Because black women in the West are inferior to white women. Why? Black women are 189.7 pounds on average. They typically have a different type of attitude. They're less submissive. I do not believe that these fat, fake-haired women, and plus the fact they can't grow their fucking hair out because they're destroying it constantly, I think it is a downgrade and an insult to a white male to date a black woman or procreate or be with this woman. I 100% think this. Now, however, when we're talking about a black man, should he or should he not date white women? The answer is yes, because that would be a step up. For white men to date a black woman is a step down.